Welcome to Life by Design, episode 357. Welcome to Life by Design. I'm your host, Dr. Jamie Richards, and I'm joined today by my colleague, Dr. Crashow Jug.
I love it. Old school radio voice. Happy to be here.
We are creators of Life by Design with many locations worldwide. Each week on the show, we discuss the principles and the practice of Life by Design. And today we're talking about the new Weight Watchers app for kids, Crashow. Tell us a bit about this and why everybody's up in arms.
So, many reasons. I just read this article. I was looking for content that was relevant, and this was getting a lot of chat. You've attached the article. People want to read it from Healthline. Really, what has happened lately is Weight Watchers has rebranded themselves. They are now WW, and it's more about lifestyle stuff. And one of the apps that they have launched is, from what I've gathered and from what I've read, is a Weight Watchers style app. But now it's being targeted to children between 8 and 17 years old. And it's raised a lot of concerns. There's a lot of parents that are concerned. There's a lot of professionals. There's a lot of professionals from like nutritionists, psychologists, people on children's behavior that are concerned. And the list of their concerns is quite extensive. You know, parents are concerned that their children are being marketed to by large companies. There's upsells on the app to get coaching. The other concern is that the nutritional information is inaccurate. If people are familiar with Weight Watchers, there's like a point system,
right,
and they're given certain points, and some of the foods that are weighed negatively by Weight Watchers are things like avocados and olive oil, which are whole foods and nutritious and a lot of nutrients for the body. There's concern that because apparently Weight Watchers is posting before and after pics, of 8-year-olds who have lost a lot of weight, and there's the behavioral side of this. And parents are concerned that they're promoting, diseases like anorexia and hashtag thinspo, which is like thin inspiration, about how and if you follow the hashtag on social media, it's just about people who are very thin and they're inspired. And some of it, of course, doesn't look very healthy. There's concerns. What have I missed? That, we're proclaiming that certain foods are good and bad, and that's going to affect the behaviors of the children. I think those are the major ones. The other ones are kind of corollary off these ideas. And if you just click on the Healthline article there, you can read all about it.
Okay, so let's talk about what the real issue here is. Because I think there's a lot there, and even 100%. Things that you talked about, there are things I agree and disagree with. So
me too.
I think we should dig into that. But what's the real issue here is, our starting point for everybody listening is that as a parent, the job is to raise, strong, healthy, independent kids. And I think in order to do that, you need to focus on health. You have to teach your kids about health. And the question is, does the app do this or not? So maybe a great place to start as an example is, would you download this app for your kids, Crashow?
No, I wouldn't, because it wouldn't be necessary for them.
Right,
and here's the thing, right? So, the way that you phrased that question, and I think oftentimes what gets confused here, and I think the real theme here when it comes to technology is that technology should be a tool to serve you, right? So the issue, and I agree this is an issue, if your values are unclear and you are uncertain exactly what you're trying to achieve and what you're trying to get out in life, then you're going to find a lot of distractions and a lot of things that can be potentially, neutral or good, if used by people with the right values, can be destructive, right? When we look at all addictive behaviors, right? Like food is not destructive. However, people who have addiction problems that are expressed through food is very destructive for them, right? Like video games and sex and drugs and alcohol, all these things are used by many people in a healthy way, but other people mismanage them and misuse them. And I think that's the concern. So step number one is knowing what your values are and knowing if this piece of technology is going to help get you towards those values, or if it's not necessary in helping you express your values. But the point is, and I love Ayn Rand's quote on this, it's like money can't replace you as the driver. It's
Right.
a tool to help you get to where you want to go. Technology is the same thing. It can't replace you as the driver in your life. It's just a tool to help you to where you want to go.
And to be on the flip side of this, if I'm, Weight Watchers or take their position, obviously I'm all for the freedom of them to create this app to, put whatever features and benefits they want together. And if somebody doesn't like it, they can just not download it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
Well, I always it's always interesting to me about what people put their time and energy into in terms of getting up in arms about and being upset about when nobody's forcing you to download the app, right? I mean, it's not like it's being mandated. It's not being, shoved down onto your phone. It's not automatically downloaded. You'd have to actually go log in, confirm it, give it agree to downloading this app. And so, whether it's this app or another app or other businesses, I just think that, once you get clear on your values, you can make a decision whether or not you need this app or not, and whether it benefits you and does what you want it to do.
Well, sure. I mean, marketing to children is not going away anytime soon. Like we used to grow up in the time of, Saturday morning cartoons, and
Right.
pretty much all Saturday morning cartoons was a marketing commercial, half an hour marketing commercial to go buy G.I. Joe or He-Man or Transformers.
Of course.
It worked super well.
Sure. Well, it's always interesting to me. We both said the exact same thing, right? When we started talking about the show, where, one of the concerns was parents were concerned that children were getting marketed to, through technology by a corporation that was making money. And we both said, what about video games?
Or even, I mean, look, but video games. But
right, kids are allowed to play video games, and I mean, how much do those cost, and what other upsells are involved in those? And
yeah, kids are allowed to watch YouTube, and what marketing companies do now is they target people who are big on YouTube, and they get them to advertise their products for them. So this isn't going anywhere. Like,
correct.
This is the solution to this problem. Again, is to parent and to have this conversation with your child so they understand the context of these things, right? And this brings me to one of the things that I had the biggest issue with, right, is people were complaining, well, this is going to teach them that certain, foods are good or bad. And they are. They are. Right? Like, right. Here's the conversation isn't, pizza's bad for you, Ari. It is bad for you. I'm not saying don't eat it, son, but just understand that, like, this is not going to get you to what's important, which is health, life, and longevity. This is actually going to take you the other way. So now you make your decision with that information. You're not a bad person if you choose to consume pizza. You're not weak. You're not stupid. You're none of those things. This has nothing to do with your character. But the facts of reality is that certain food moves you towards health, and certain food moves you away from health, right? And that's the conversation.
Yes. And, you're making the exact point, which is the conversation happens, number one, and it happens early. And so when I asked you the question, would you download this app, say, for your children? And the answer is no. And it doesn't mean no for everybody. And it's no simply because this is already, and again, our information in terms of what is good to eat and what isn't is very different than what is necessarily on the Weight Watchers or WW app.
For sure.
And that's an important piece is, our children already grow up in a place, and probably lots of people listen in, hopefully, and if not, this is a great place to start, is growing up in a household where, good food, healthful food, nutrient dense food is on the table the vast majority of the time. And foods that aren't that are not there very often. This is where we would go in opposition to what most people say, which is everything in moderation. And, we couldn't actually disagree with that more, which would probably surprise people if they're new to the podcast. Again, you just take it in any direction you want, but, cocaine in moderation isn't good for you. And toxic food in moderation is still toxic food. And of course, yes, the more you have of it, the worse it's going to be. But it's still not good for you. And so I think, substitute another behavior, right? Like this is the part that I don't understand. Eventually you're going to get your child can act in an extreme enough case where you're going to step in and say, no, that's wrong or that's bad, right? Like it's okay to wrestle with your brother. It's not okay to, take this heavy, like whatever, and hit your brother with it. That's not okay. I'm going to stop that and let you know that that's not okay. Like that's part of the point of parenting, right? Is you teach them these boundaries in different contexts, right? Like your brother who loves you
not a good idea to hit him with something heavy. But somebody who's attacking you, it is a good idea to hit them with something heavy to protect yourself, right? So we can't drop the context here that part of parenting is creating context and teaching the children not only the rules or what's good or bad within that context, but why it's good or bad. And how that helps and how that benefits them.
Right. And it's interesting how food tends to be one of the areas that gets completely dropped out of this good and bad conversation. And you can see it. You can see it in most people's diets. And, lots of people are not eating even 80% healthy food on a regular basis. And why not? Right? I mean, you would never let them do certain things, as you said, hit your brother with a rock or jump off a building. There's things that you just draw a boundary for, but I just find it very interesting and probably beyond the scope of today, but interesting why the conversation about food is so different, why it tends to fall outside of the realm of all these other things that we give people guidelines for.
Well, I think part of the conversation, and to go the other way is there. And again, this is something that I witnessed really early with my children. There's fanaticism, Jamie, on people like in our part, on our mindset that health and food is important, where we tend to kind of go over the top extreme with like how harmful or destructive these foods could be. And, that like when you think about growing up and think about some of the stuff that your parents were like over the top about, you tended to do it just to kind of spite them. So I think that there's an unhealthy way to teach your children about food, right? Like, right. I think removing all the negative over the top emotions around this would benefit a child. You're like, you're not allowed to eat that. That's terrible. It's gonna give you cancer or a heart attack. Like, that's not healthy for the child to hear that, right? But to not even have those conversations and just have good food available. So when it's, hey, I want some cookies. Sorry, pal, we don't got any cookies. Do you want some fruit or do you want something else? Like, that's the healthy way to have these conversations, right?
Right. Yeah. No emotion, no emotional charge. This is bad for you. Right. You can't have that. It's too much sugar. It's just, we're not having that right now.
That's right.
But I see them right there. Yeah, we're not having them. It's kind of like the same conversation I try and have at bedtime, right? They're screaming and yelling, I don't want to go to bed. Like, yeah, that's okay. I understand you don't want to go to bed. We're going to go to bed. So do you want me to carry or do you want to walk?
Yeah.
I don't want to go to bed. Well, it's going to happen. So just take a pick. Do you want me to carry you or walk? I don't want to go to bed. Great. I'm just going to carry you then. I'll make the decision for you and we'll deal with it when we get in there. And so, again, I think that the conversation for today and the really the take home is it all starts at home, right? I mean, it comes down to parenting. It comes down to values. It comes down to role modeling for your children because, of course, they see you more than they hear you. And, I think setting an example for them in terms of how you live your life and food is just one area, and obviously exercise and other healthcare and, the way you take care of your partner, your relationships. It just goes beyond this. It's all the same stuff, and worry less about what app is out there and what the app is doing and saying, just don't get involved.
There'll be another one. Here's the point. There'll be another one, and they'll be worse and it'll be something else and it'll be extreme. So we can worry about the symptoms of all these things, or we can get to the root problem, right? Which is, be the one to have the conversations with these kids. And trust me, I'm far from perfect at this. I've made so many parenting mistakes. It's unbelievable. But I'm still trying my best.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure, guys. And I think go check out the show notes because the article's in there if you want to read more about this app. But really, as much as I want you to read the article, then I want you to forget about it. And then I want you just to be parenting your kids, understand your values, and just live that every single day. Check out the show notes, guys, lifebydesign.com/podcast. Check out today's episode. And thank you, as always, for joining the drive to 1 million families worldwide living life by design.